Hi, I'm Wade Wingler with the Indata Project at Easter Seals Crossroads in Indiana. Today I'm doing kind of an impromptu video about making your website more accessible. In fact, we're going to do 3 of these videos that cover the basics of why web accessibility is important. So in the first video, we're going to talk a little bit about the why part of web accessibility. Then in the second video, we're going to spend a little time looking at a tool that will help you understand problems with your website and maybe gain some insight into fixing those problems. And then in the third video, we're going to talk about kind of the nitty-gritty and the different resources that are out there to help you figure out at a more technical level how to make your website more accessible. So at the beginning of this video, I want to talk a little bit about why do we care about this. Today a lot of content is delivered on the web. We shop, we go to school, we engage in social media, we communicate with friends and loved ones, we interact with medical services, even governmental services on the web. Most people, whether or not they have disabilities, need access to those things. If you think about the world of disabilities and people who might be using assistive technology, that doesn't just include some of the traditional disabilities you might think about, like blindness or cerebral palsy or autism or those kind of things. It also includes people who are dealing with the effects of aging, people who have trouble with their vision or memory or maybe fine motor skills due to aging. And suddenly that includes a lot more web users than just people with disabilities. If you think about it, people who are providing web content are almost always trying to get other people to do something. It might be participate in a project, take advantage of a service, share information, or in a lot of cases, you want them to buy something. And if your web page isn't accessible, content developers are missing a lot of opportunities to reach out to those audience. You might not have students, you might not have people participating in your projects, or if you're selling something, you're missing out on customers. But the good news is it's not that difficult to make your website more accessible, and there are a lot of tools out there that are free, as well as some pretty well developed standards and guidelines on how to make your website more accessible. So in these videos, again, we're going to give you some useful information on the why and the how of making your website more accessible, and then we're also going to point you to some ongoing resources for information. After all, the web is constantly changing, and we also need to make sure that as the web changes, the way we make it accessible changes along with that. Some very simple reasons to keep your website in a way that's more accessible to folks with disabilities or people who use assistive technology include the things that are on this slide. People with disabilities are customers and spend money. If you make your website more accessible, you might even get better search engine optimization from Google or some of the other search engines that are out there. Depending on the nature of your business or your organization, it might even be required by the law or departmental rules and guidelines of your employer, your university, or your organization. So it may be required and you don't even know it. It's simply the right thing to do. And think about this. When you develop an accessible website, you're sending the message to your customers that you care about them, that you care about your content, and you care about people with disabilities. So it's important to do these kind of things. I'm going to show you very quickly just one example of how somebody with a disability might use assistive technology to access a website. So I'm going to use a screen reader. The one I'm using today is called VoiceOver, and that's because I have my Mac computer in front of me today. If somebody's using a Windows computer, they might use programs like WindowEyes or JAWS or Supernova. If they're using a Mac, they're probably going to be using VoiceOver, which is the built-in screen reader. So I'm going to get out of my slides here, and I'm going to go over to Safari. And Safari is the web browser that comes on the Mac, and I'm going to hit Command F5 to bring up the VoiceOver screen reader, and it's going to start talking here and also show you some simulated Braille. Now this is a program that's typically used by folks who are blind or have low vision, and will give you at least the basic idea of how they might use a screen reader to access your website. So here we go.
VoiceOver on Safari. Assistive technology at Easter Seals Crossroads window. Link.
So I hit Command F5 to bring up my VoiceOver screen, and you'll see in the lower right-hand corner you're getting simulated Braille, and you're getting a text representation of what the screen reader is saying. I'm going to use some special commands here to have it read the web page.
Visited link. Home. Link. About. Link. Services. Link. Contact. Link. Apps. Link. On AIR. End list. Heading level 2 link. Clarity Auto plus digital extra loud big button speakerphone. By Lauren on September 26, 2013. Link image. Auto plus amplified phone. Image source. Link. Enablement. The Auto plus amplified corded telephone is a telephone solution for those with mild, moderate to severe hearing loss. This assistive technology device has ergonomic volume and tone control, so it's also useful for people with arthritis.
So if I hit the control key, that stops the audio from VoiceOver so that I can stop listening to that. And you'll see that I was able to move down through our website fairly easily and get to this blog post about the Clarity Alto Plus Big Button speakerphone. I'm going to hit Command F5 again to turn off VoiceOver so that it'll stop talking.
VoiceOver off.
And I'm going to go back over to our slides here. And that is certainly not a full demo of how VoiceOver works, but it gives you some idea of how at least some folks with disabilities might be interacting with your website. In our next video, we're going to use a tool called the Wave Toolbar that'll let you, without having to know how to use a screen reader, figure out how to look at your website to see whether or not you're doing things in an accessible way.